Right now, on To the Point. More than 120,000 acres burned in the rapidly growing park fire, where crews are making progress.
More strong wind gusts headed our way. What you need to know about the potential fire outbreaks.
Governor Newsom issues an executive order for the removal of homeless encampments, the impact it could have across the state. And later, investigating SeaQuest. Tonight, hear from former employees about what they say is really happening behind closed doors.
First tonight, breaking news just into the newsroom. You might be seeing this plume of smoke over Sacramento. Fire crews are battling a fire burning at a recycling plant. This is a live look at the scene off Lauren Perkins Road and 24th Avenue. That thick smoke, has been billowing into the air for more than an hour now. Sacramento City Fire says more than 100 firefighters are on scene. We also have a crew on scene and are working to get you more information. We'll bring you updates on air and online at abc10.com. We're also tracking the largest active fire burning in the state. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on To the Point. I'm Becca Habiger. Alex Bell has the night off. Crews are working around the clock fighting the fast-burning park fire in Butte and Tehama counties. CAL FIRE says flames have already burned more than 124,000 acres. Containment is at just 3%. Evacuation orders are in place for several areas in both counties, and evacuation warnings were just issued for those living in the town of Paradise. So let's talk possible cause. Right now, 42-year-old Ronnie Stout II is in custody, facing an arson charge. The Butte County District Attorney accuses 42-year-old Stout of pushing a burning car down a ravine, sparking a fire. The DA says the man was seen calmly leaving the area by blending in with people fleeing quickly growing fire. This was in the Upper Bidwell Park area around 3 p.m. yesterday. Now Stout is being held without bail until his next court appearance next week. Now to the big news today in the homelessness crisis. Governor Gavin Newsom issued an executive order this morning directing state agencies to remove homeless encampments. Now this comes about a month after a U.S. Supreme Court decision that lifted an existing ban on such so-called sweeps. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us to explain what this executive order means and why advocates say it's a step in the wrong direction.
Becca, Governor Gavin Newsom's executive order allows state agencies to prioritize cleaning up encampments. But after hearing from various advocates today, they believe this is adding to the problem without any permanent solutions.
I don't think there's anything more urgent and more frustrating.
Homelessness has been an issue in California for decades, and now
Today I announced an executive order to move the process forward. We're done.
Governor Gavin Newsom's executive order will allow state agencies to quickly clean homeless encampments that pose safety risks, especially those along waterways. This comes a month after the Supreme Court ruled to allow cities to enforce camping bans.
Today we've invested now over $1 billion in encampment resolution grants, not only to clean up sites like this, but to address the underlying issue in the first place.
But as soon as the governor issued the executive order, advocates for the unhoused say this will only continue to make the situation worse.
The governor is pressuring cities to sweep encampments, but cities have been conducting sweeps for decades, and it's only made the homelessness crisis worse.
Newsom emphasized addressing the encampments with urgency, but also dignity. Ron Hochbaum, professor with the McGeorge School of Law, believes there's no such thing as clearing encampments in a dignified way.
If these sweeps are conducted in the way that the governor is suggesting, people will remain on the streets, and they'll be forced to pitch their tents elsewhere.
Hochbaum emphasized the clear solution is housing.
We can continue to pursue failed punitive policies like this executive order, or we can pivot and pursue productive policies like housing and rental subsidies.
Newsom also encourages local governments to apply for billions of dollars in grants from Proposition 1, which also includes the Behavioral Health Services Act, providing $950 million for counties to provide people with housing with severe behavioral health needs.
Republicans in the Senate responded to Newsom's order today, calling it a PR stunt, and that Republican legislators have made similar efforts over the last several years. Becca.
Jeannie, Thank you. Tonight, we're also speaking with local government and law enforcement leaders about how the executive order might impact our region. Both Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg and Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper said this executive order doesn't change much for what their teams have already been doing to deal with homelessness. Mayor Steinberg stressed that with enforcement, there must also be connection to resources. Sheriff Cooper supports the governor's move.
The governor's executive order, to me, is a prod. It's, what he's saying is, I want better results.
I think it's great. It's great for Californians, and I think being a local law enforcement, people are fed up. They're compassionate with the homeless, but they want responsibility and accountability.
Now, Steinberg acknowledged there are limited resources and stressed the need for increasing capacity for shelters and services. Cooper says he hopes to see other agencies take action. And in San Joaquin County, Stockton's city manager tells us while the order only directly impacts state agencies and state-owned lands, the city could face repercussions if it doesn't start clearing camps as well. He says that could come in the form of, say, reduced funding from the state. He says the city council already has a meeting scheduled in August to talk about what direction the city will go when it comes to enforcing bans on camping in public spaces.
Clearly, whatever we decide as a city to do, it's going to cost more money. We're going to need more resources. We're going to need more people.
In a statement, one of the city's largest shelters, St. Mary's Community Services, said it's monitoring the policy changes and any impact those will have on programs and services. Both Stockton's mayor and the chair of the San Joaquin County Board of Supervisors issued statements today praising the governor's order and touting their previous actions to address homelessness. Still to come on To the Point, investigating SeaQuest. Nearly 20 employees are sounding the alarm about the popular zoo and aquarium, saying corporate exploits animals to make money. Tonight, hear what they say is really happening behind closed doors.
And temperatures much cooler than they were yesterday, pushing 100 in Sacramento with as high as 105 in Oroville, but cooler than the 108 to 111 we felt yesterday. The cooling trend headed our way.
Meteorologist Carly Gomez joins us. Carly, with all these fires burning, we're not out of the woods yet.
No, we're not. We're looking at strong wind gusts continuing through tonight. And a red flag warning has been issued for areas just north of Chico where the park fire is burning. And right now, even in the valley, we have our own fire concerns as the dry conditions continue. In the Big Mountain backyard, temperatures just now under 100 degrees in Sacramento at 96, 100 in Stockton and Modesto with 102 in Marysville, Tahoe at 82. Today, one of the last hot days for a little while until we get some cooling trend continuing into our weekend. We'll see cooler temperatures starting tomorrow in the lower 90s, and that'll continue into our weekend. But first, we're getting through some of these strong winds and the elevated fire concerns through Friday night. A red flag warning does remain in effect north of Sacramento. For those elevated fire concerns, that means gusty winds anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour and dry conditions. The humidity, very dry. We're talking anywhere from single digits up to 20% humidity with very little recovery overnight. Now, added to that, we're seeing Sierra thunderstorm chances. Now, that is for the Sierra only, for the higher elevations and pushing toward Nevada. But finally, this weekend, we'll see a much needed cool down with temperatures even in the mid 80s and upper 80s. Now, as we look at the park fire's growth, we've now looked at it at about 125,000 acres burned, just close to that now. And with a red flag warning in effect all the way up into Oregon through tomorrow night, the winds are continuing to come in from the south, spreading the fire further north and eventually tomorrow night to the northwest just a bit more. So that'll be a concern, of course, for people in that area evacuating as well as firefighters. You can see the winds coming in from the south and then eventually moving into Friday night. We'll continue to see that shift toward the northwest there. And that same direction is where we're also looking at some of that smoke continuing to move. Now, we're looking at this weekend much cooler in the mid to upper 80s and then eventually seeing those 90s and triple digits toward the following weekend.
Carly, thank you. Next on To the Point, investigating SeaQuest. Tonight, hear from former employees about what they say is really happening behind closed doors at the popular zoo and aquarium. SeaQuest in Folsom is a popular aquarium and zoo in part because customers are able to touch, feed, and interact with animals. But the aquarium continues to draw concerns. 5 months ago, our investigation uncovered serious issues and violations regarding SeaQuest's treatment of animals, including small enclosures and no breaks from customer interactions. Immediately after our story aired, even more former SeaQuest employees came forward. Now, investigative reporter Andy Judson has been following this important story and joins us now.
Yeah, Becca, we've spoken with nearly 20 former SeaQuest employees. Many provided us documents and graphic photos as evidence of the poor treatment and care of animals happening inside SeaQuest. They say they are coming forward now to speak for the animals. Now, we do want to warn you that some of the images tonight may be difficult to watch.
As a kid, I've always had a strange love for the unloved. Do you want this Boogie Boo?
Whether they have scales,
I also call him my cookie bear.
gills, or fur, pets in Elle's home are treated like royalty. But Elle also has pictures of other animals she loves, and they tell a much different story.
That is a molded parakeet body. There was a huge pile of cockroach poop behind the door. She wasn't eating. They still had guests see her like this.
These animals live inside a shopping mall at SeaQuest. To the public, SeaQuest is an interactive aquarium and zoo. But to Elle and others who worked there,
It's directly animal exploitation that SeaQuest is profiting from.
Elle not only shared photos, but also provided us with dozens of internal documents. By doing so, she put herself in a vulnerable position, which is why she asked us to protect her identity.
Do you still think about the animals? Is that why you're talking today?
I think about them every day. It's something that every SeaQuest worker goes through. We've all cried together. We've all wanted better for the animals. I hope everybody comes together and becomes the voice for them.
They did. After our first investigation aired, employee after employee came forward with even more to share.
Raise your hand if you saw an animal die at SeaQuest.
There's probably well over 1,000 animals and fish that have died since the opening of SeaQuest Folsom.
1,000 animals in 6 years, Elle estimates, but the true number is unknown.
SeaQuest, as far as I know, never had documents.
SeaQuest told ABC News they have official documentation for mortalities on site, but they did not give us the exact number of animals that have died at their Folsom location when asked.
A lot of stuff would get either overlooked or seen too late.
Like how they believe the facility was unsafe.
I measured the temperature peak summer of 22 and it was 108.
A lot of the paint is coming up through the dirt.
She was very well known for loving to chew on the paint.
That's not all. Small enclosures, tank leaks, open electrical sockets in enclosures, and cleanliness issues.
I believe with SeaQuest, all of it stems from the interactive aspect, which is what sets up failure.
Folsom team, hey, I don't
CEO Vince Cavino pushes to make more money upselling customers on what's called interactions, as seen in this video he made for the Folsom team.
It's just that simple. It's just engaging, talking to the guests, showing them the animals.
This corporation is run by business people, not animal experts.
Interactions are premium experiences where guests can pay to touch and feed an animal. Staffers say the company directed all their attention to interactions, leaving no time for basic animal care.
It was hard to find that opening to clean an animal's enclosure.
90% of the time, they weren't getting fed because there was not enough time or enough staff to do it.
I just want to show you something. This is from yesterday. I know because I made it. She's supposed to eat all of this. Not to mention, this is from yesterday. Tortoise's supposed to eat all of this. This is from yesterday. Our iguanas are supposed to eat all of this. Our baby torts are supposed to eat all of this. And our sloths only got about half of their diet.
It wasn't just a time conflict. Some workers told us management gave clear marching orders.
You're not allowed to feed any of the animals anymore. It strictly needs to be just what people are paying for. They're being partially starved. We went through a period in time where the sharks started to try to eat the stingrays.
This fish was bit in half by a shark that was hungry, internal messages show. When asked about withholding food for paying customers only, SeaQuest did not respond.
We would get a write-up if we personally were feeding one of the animals without a guest in there interacting with them.
Another issue was having no quarantine system when SeaQuest opened, they say.
Which is a big no-no for any aquarium.
Animals should always be kept for a period of time quarantined before being introduced to a new tank or enclosure. Other animals and SeaQuest customers, employees explained. This is to ensure they adjust and have all parasites die off.
Because they wouldn't bother with quarantining them, you would then infest an entire tank, but then children and parents are sticking their hands in that tank, and then they're taking their contaminated hand to another tank, and the next thing you know, the whole aquarium has parasites.
And a video shows it. You can see parasites inside the dead frog.
How many hours, days, and weeks it took us just to get the pitiful excuse of a quarantine system that we had?
5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
We went to management and we said, go lock yourself in a bathroom that's about 2 by 2, and that's what you're putting the sharks in.
Here's footage of how animals are kept in SeaQuest Folsom's back rooms. In cages much too small for them, employees say. As for quarantined fish,
most of them never went back to their habitats. They ended up dying in the quarantine.
Because they were so small?
Yeah.
When animals got sick,
rather than taking this animal to the vet, they had us do in-house treatment by sending us a YouTube video.
Internal messages show team members figuring out how to treat birds for bumblefoot, a common bacterial infection, from a Wikipedia article.
Because if a person had to go take this animal to the vet, they're losing a team member on the floor to do other SeaQuest things such as cell interactions and do interactions.
If they did go to a vet, it was often too late. Some dead animals were left to rot, like these molded parakeet bodies. An employee complaint to the U.S. Department of Agriculture said animals in the mortality fridge, where their dead bodies are kept, had been there for 6 months and were next to living animals. And ABC 10 obtained footage of SeaQuest's mortality fridge. The fridge filled to the brim. SeaQuest did not answer any of our questions about this.
We're not supposed to tell anyone that anything died. If something is deceased in a tank, pretend it's alive. And then we'll just go get a new one, kind of thing.
We are putting in a big order of animals.
You know, Vince's thing was more.
More animals, more interactions, more money.
SeaQuest easily saw 500 people a day, up to 1,000 people a day.
SeaQuest told ABC News interactions are a superb source of enrichment for our animals, but it's not enriching, employees say. It's harmful.
The animals are getting stressed because that room is literally filled to the brim with people.
By law, animals must have breaks from interactions. SeaQuest previously told ABC News they give animals break time equal to the time they spend doing interactions. Employees say that's not true.
You just write them down like you did them. They would just have me do them back to back to back to back to back.
When animals get stressed, like humans, they lash out. ABC 10 obtained multiple incident reports of guests and employees being bitten and scratched. But if an animal hurts someone, SeaQuest has a rule, Elle says. After 3 incidents, the animal is euthanized.
So that's why a lot of bites go undocumented by employees.
It's one of many ways SeaQuest employees try to protect animals. Employees have reported issues to the agency regulating SeaQuest, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, multiple times, records show. Most issues were deemed unsubstantiated, allowing SeaQuest to stay the same.
So it's up to us. We need our voices heard.
We have to all be the voice for these animals more than anything, because SeaQuest needs to be shut down.
We reached out to SeaQuest multiple times for this report and sent them over a dozen questions, as well as offered them the opportunity to go on camera or to send us a statement. They did not respond to any of our questions. Instead, they referred us to the frequently asked questions section of their website, which did not address any of the allegations or inquiries brought forward in the story. Becca?
So Andy, maybe they won't talk with us, but is SeaQuest Folsom responding to customers' messages or comments?
Yeah, it's interesting. Within the last week, SeaQuest Folsom has responded to customers on Google reviews, telling them there's been, quote, a spread of misinformation and to, quote, not believe everything that you hear on the news. So we asked SeaQuest why they're telling customers this, and when they didn't respond to our questions regarding the allegations brought forward by former employees, again, Becca, they just did not respond to us.
All right. Andy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll continue to follow this story. Stay with us. We're back after a short break. Back to that breaking news we've been following. Fire crews are battling a fire at a burning recycling plant off Florin Perkins Road and 24th Avenue. Now, several roads in the area are closed right now, as well as the train tracks. We'll continue to bring updates on air and online at abc10.com. Quite a plume of smoke there. You've probably seen outside in your evening sky. Well, thank you so much for watching us and inviting us into your home. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.